My name is Christopher. I'm the AstroMedium and your host, intuitive astrologer, for the cosmic forecast for this week of December 6th through December 12th. So let's start with where the planets are now. The Sun is still in Sagittarius at 15 degrees. The Moon is now in Virgo at 4 degrees. Mercury is also in Sagittarius at 8 degrees. Venus is still in Scorpio at 19 degrees. Mars is still in its ruling sign of Aries at 18 degrees. Jupiter is still in Capricorn at 27 degrees. Saturn is in its ruling sign of Capricorn, slowly making its way with Jupiter toward Aquarius, but at 28 degrees of Capricorn. Uranus is still retrograde in Taurus at 7 degrees. Neptune is now direct and in its retrograde phase at 18 degrees of its ruling sign of Pisces. Pluto is still in Capricorn at 23 degrees. And the North Node is still in Gemini, retrograde, at 20 degrees. And Chiron is still retrograde, about to go direct, about to enter retrograde, but still retrograde right now at 4 degrees of Aries. So this week is going to be wild. We've got a lot of Venus activity. We have a little bit of Mars activity. We've got some conversations going on with the Sun, and everybody's messing around with the North Node. Some of it challenging, some of it very beneficial. So let's dive right in. Let's start with today. So today is Sunday, December 6th, and we do not have a lot of moon activity today. We have two very important Venus transits happening today. The first one is Venus making a trine, which is a 120-degree angle to Neptune in Pisces. This is beautiful. This is amazing. And this is something that will lift our heart spaces up into the ethereal realms. This is a lighter, finer frequency, so I'll get into that here in a little bit. We also have Venus and Scorpio making a quincunx to Mars and Aries. So quincunxes are not as talked about as they should be, and they are not as well understood, and I'll talk a little bit about more of them as we go on. Let's go to tomorrow. Tomorrow, Monday, we've got some moon activity that's pretty important and pretty exciting. The moon in Virgo will make a trine to Uranus and Taurus. This is going to give us some emotional excitement, and it's going to help us break free of old emotional patterns. The moon in Virgo, however, is also going to square Mercury in Sagittarius. Squares are not bad, but they are challenging, and it's where the two planets are trying to dominate each other, and the moon and Mercury trying to dominate each other causes a lot of confusion. So there will be some confusion tomorrow, but if you choose to, you can break free of some old cycles. And we also have Venus and Scorpio making a quincunx to the North Node. So we've got quite a few Venus transits all happening at the same time. So we're going to decode this. We're going to get to the bottom of what this entire frequency is going to mean. So we've got several different frequencies coming in at different directions, offering us different outcomes, different feelings. So we want to dive right in and see how we can work with all of it, and if we're pulling in all of it, how you can best receive the best outcome. So let's go to Tuesday. The moon in Virgo will be making a square to the North Node. So again, another challenging aspect. I don't want to say hard, but challenging aspect to the North Node. So this week, as you can see, we've got a lot of our path revealing itself to us, but in challenging ways. And all of these different planets having conversations with the North Node, meaning this is a time to get very clear about where you are and where you're going, and are you in alignment with your soul purpose. We also have the moon making a trine to the JSP conjunction. That's Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto. The moon making a trine, which is a very powerful, very positive, very easy flowing aspect. It's 120 degrees to all three of them right in a row. Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn. This is amazing. So the day may start off a little rocky, a little confusing. Things may be feeling like they're not on track. But then as we dive deeper into the day, there's a lot of emotional empowerment. There's a lot of emotional intensity there. But it's empowering emotional stability we can look forward to as well. So on Wednesday is a powerful day. The moon in Libra will make an opposition to Chiron in Aries. So this oppositions, again, are challenging. They are not bad. And the moon opposite Chiron is going to give us some healing crises that may come up and some emotional vulnerability that may come up, and it may come up with people out here expressing things to us in ways that are sensitizing to us or triggering to us. But the moon in Libra will be making a sextile to Mercury. So unlike Monday, we will have some emotional clarity. We'll be able to speak from a place of our vulnerability and what's triggering us to help further along someone else's development or our own. But that day is a little tricky because the sun is making a square, which is a 90-degree angle to Neptune in Pisces. This is going to cause confusion. Sun square Neptune can cause low vitality. This can cause the immune system to weaken slightly. This can also cause us to worry more, become more hypochondriacs. Neptune is definitely trying to get us to be more generous, more ethereal, more spiritual, but the sun is squaring off with Neptune, which is making us have some ego dramas within that realm. We are more easily deceived than normal. We are putting ourselves in situations where we can be taken advantage of, or that we don't have the energy to go forth and do what we're promising. And if you are someone who has a lot of Neptune or Pisces in your chart, this was definitely going to hit you hard, or a lot of Leo in your chart as well. But Sun square Neptune is a great time to relax. Venus trine Neptune is as well. We've got some Neptune stuff going on this week. Very important to relax, escape in some healthy way. Creativity, music, art, all of those things are favored. Whether there's a square or trine, it doesn't matter. Anything to do with Neptune is going to stimulate your inspired creativity. Now let's move to Thursday. So luckily for us, with Sun square Neptune, we could get a total smack in the face. Lots of people going down, hitting the bed, staying on the couch for a few days. But Thursday comes along, and we're already going to be sitting in that energy on Wednesday, so we're going to be getting some mixed signals. But the Sun in Sagittarius will be making a trine to Mars in Aries. So with Sun trine Mars, this is very different than Sun square Neptune. This is empowerment, this is confidence, this is action-oriented energy. This is very masculine energy as well. I'm ready to go out there and get this shit done. I'm ready to go out here and make this shit happen. And I'm not going to let anybody stand in my way. I feel not necessarily most powerful, I feel the most driven, I feel the most motivated, and I've got a lot of energy that I want to expel. So depending on your natal placements and depending on what you tune to, because when we have energies that don't match coming in at us at once, we have the opportunity to tune with awareness to what we would like to receive. These energies are available to us like radio stations. You just have to choose. And also on Thursday, Venus in Scorpio will be making a sextile to Pluto in Capricorn. Let's say sextile again. So again, with Venus in Scorpio making a sextile to Pluto, which rules Scorpio, we've got some intensity going on in our relationships. With Sun trine Mars, there is some sexual aggression there. There's a lot of more sexual vitality there. Again, you've got Sun square Neptune, Sun trine Mars. It's more about what your natal placements are pulling in and what you consciously choose. But also with Venus sextile Pluto, we're going to go deep in our relationships. We're feeling a little bit more impassioned by them. We're going to some, not necessarily darker places, but deeper places with our partners and our loved ones. And we're also feeling a little bit more intuitive in our relationships, which is much needed right now, especially with Sun square Neptune. There is some tendency in our relationships or with people in our lives for people to not be honest with us or have our best intentions, or just to not be thinking about how we're feeling on the other side. But with Venus in Scorpio sextile Pluto, this is giving us a little boost to take us to deeper places, in those unspoken places. Scorpio doesn't like to speak. He likes to just feel, and he wants you to just know. And Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, so we've got some amazingly passionate energy on Thursday that I want everyone to pull in. And for some of you who are not getting the benefit of the Sun making a trine to Mars, and you're definitely hit sideways with that Sun square Neptune energy, it's okay. You're doing a lot of healing in your dream times, journal, poetry, writing, relaxing, smoking some weed, watching some TV, whatever you got to do to relax, okay? Relaxing is a big key this week. And contemplation, quiet contemplation about where you are and where you want to go. Now, let's move to Friday. Friday, we have the moon in Scorpio making an opposition to Uranus and Taurus. So this is going to pull us a little bit. This is going to cause some emotional reactivity because we are more excitable. We are feeling bored with things. There's a sense of boredom and there's a sense of needing to find some excitement there. And that will absolutely break you free of some emotional or subconscious programming that you have set yourself in. No matter how long it's been, you can definitely take that opportunity to break those cycles that day. And this is a mixed signal type day as well, because the Sun in Sagittarius has been very active, making a square to Neptune, a trine to Mars, and now a opposition to the North Node. I'm like, will you leave the North Node alone? But this is very powerful, very positive. As you can see, the North Node being the trajectory of the soul, our life purpose, you could say, or our soul's path, how that unfolds for you, where you're going, being in alignment with that and staying true to what your soul came here to do. All of that has to do with the North Node, and it's being fucked with heavily this week. And that's preparing us for a little mini major event that happens on Saturday, which we'll get to. And also on Friday, Mars in Aries, another Mars transit, making a sextile to the North Node. So we've got some mixed signals there. We don't feel like we're on our path. We feel like other people don't see us for where we feel that we're going or that we can do it, but yet we've got a drive to do it. So we also have this unending supply of energy in the direction of our soul's path, and our soul's giving us a little nudge saying, let's light some fire and let's get going and let's prepare for the great 12-12 portal that happens on Saturday. Saturday is going to be a major day. As you all know, the 11-11 portal brought in a lot of ascension symptoms, but a lot of light codes, and the 11-11 portal was a special day because it marked the anniversary, if you will. That's not the right term, but a cycle completion, because in numerology we live by cycles of 9, because 10 is not a number, so 9 is that number. 9 years before 11-11-2020 was 11-11-11. So there was another cycle that was complete. And on 11-11-2020 of this year, the moon went into the balancing sign of Libra at 11:11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And no matter where you were in the world, the minute was 11 when that moon went into Libra. You couldn't get better at that. Source, God, Holy Spirit, you couldn't get better at this whole synchronized clockwork thing that is the universe, that is so well timed and so trying to get your attention right now, especially when we lead up to Saturday, because we have 12-12 portal opening. And no, when I say there's a portal opening, I do not mean there's a stargate opening in the sky and all of you are going to fly up into it, or there's going to be another dimension over there. We're getting to that point at some point. Right now, that's not what I mean. Portals are frequency alignments, and it's very important for us to understand this, because everything is frequency, numbers. The planets are beings in and of themselves, offering resonance fields that are interacting with other resonance fields. These angles, geometry, everything in the universe is geometry. So all this sounds like something out of Star Trek, but really this is part of the ascension process and the awakening process. We're getting ready for 12-21-20, which is the great solar event. So 12-12 portal opening is going to give us a little doorway. All right, are you all ready? And on that day, the moon will make a conjunction to Venus, which is definitely going to drop us into our heart space. And Venus is in Scorpio, remember, and the moon will be in Scorpio because they're conjunct. So this is a time to get really real on Saturday. Pull that energy in, so there will be a lot of ascension symptoms. Okay. Awesome. So as soon as I start talking about ascension symptoms, they start to chime in. Yes, okay, so there's going to be a lot of crown activations on the 12-12 portal. This is going to, so everyone's going to be activating some chakra that still has some blockages in it that they're not going to be able to take with them into these higher dimensional states of consciousness and these higher frequency ranges. Crown for sure. Why? Well, okay. So the way they're showing me is that kind of like that there's a portal opening, or that these alignments, think about this portal being the crown chakra, which is our connection to everything. It's how we leave our body. If we are in alignment at the time of death, this is how enlightenment takes place, is through the crown chakra. So there will be a lot of headaches happening, a lot of jaw and teeth pressure. There's going to be some neck pain. This is going to automatically stimulate the third eye as well. They're saying we have a lot of people who are going to become more intuitive, more psychic, more abilities coming online. And 1212 is going to start this trigger effect. Oh, damn. They're kind of showing me that from 1212 and for quite a period of time, there's going to be this, not low energy, but for those of us light workers, starseeds, empaths, highly sensitive people, people who are really pulling in this energy, people who are doing the work, we are feeling these ascension symptoms. We're resonating with all this ascension symptom shit that we're seeing on the internet. All of this talk that's going on, we're resonating with it, we're experiencing it. It's really real for us. It's a sci-fi movie for other people, but it's real life for us. We are going to be feeling it physically as well. Oh, they're saying if you thought the ascension symptoms were crazy now, and I call them that, but we're talking body vibrations, there's also going to be some blood pressure changes as well. Something's recalibrating, they're showing me. Blood pressure. But there's lightheadedness and dizziness coming from that. So a lot of these crown activations are going to cause a lot of lightheadedness, feeling ungrounded. Oh, and they're being very clear about try to stay away from mood-altering chemicals as much as possible during this time. That's going to be hard for some of you out there. I am so sorry to deliver that message, but it's very clear how all of that can mess with your equilibrium, and they're wanting us to be very clear right now, very focused. And this kind of ties back into this whole North Node sequencing that's happening this week. So, and a lot of digestive changes. We're going to be feeling a lot of different digestive issues going on. I used to be able to eat this just fine, and this will be things that you thought were high vibrating foods, and they're just messing with you, giving some acid indigestion and some solar plexus activity going on as well. So we have to be mindful that this portal opening, it seems like we all just want to put our flower crowns on and go out to, take our van out to the middle of nowhere and just look up at the stars and just wait for the 1212 portal to open. That is not necessarily what they're showing me, okay? This feels like it's intense, but there is an inner knowing, they're saying. You will have a knowing that you've come this far and that something great is about to happen, whether you know about the 12/21/20 solar event or not. People may watch this sometime in the future. I want you to look back at this time if you're watching it sometime in the future and realize we all as a collective knew something was going to happen. And Saturday is our signaling, kind of like the bouncer at the club. 1212 is going to check your ID, make sure you're good, make sure you're safe to come in, and then it will begin. This is very exciting shit, and it's not everything this year astrologically that has happened has been so synchronized and so coincidentally on point, just like this week. When we talk about the great event and portal openings, this is higher dimensional shit we're talking about. These are higher frequencies that are coming in and being felt at the physical level. That's what a light worker is, pulling in higher light and manifesting it and grounding it and rooting it into the third dimension and into the physical realms. So what's happening this week with all this North Node activity is you are being asked, what are you doing? Where are you going? And this is very different than when Saturn returns or when you're having a major Saturn transit and Saturn's going, What are you doing with your life? You need to grow up. Are you doing all the right things? Are you following the rules? Are you doing those things you said you were going to do to get to where? This is a little bit more ethereal, a little bit broader than that. In this realm of the North Node, there's no right and wrong way to do it. Sometimes with the North Node, okay, they're showing me something very, very specific here. Sometimes with the North Node, we are led down paths of the wrong way of doing something because there is something wrong that you came here to do and have an experience of doing, obviously, because we are completing karmic cycles and we are completing missions, is the word that they use, to see both sides of things, and the North Node has this connotation, okay? With all of this North Node activity, you need to be very clear about what you want in life. It's not about the money, the job, the house, the lover. These things are rooted in the third dimension. When we talk about the North Node, are you aware? Are you awake? And are you wanting... They're going to give me something that I said to somebody one time. I said to somebody one time, you know what? If an angel came down to me right now and said, you're going to live a very hard life, but because you lived that really hard life, every other incarnation after that will not. And I remember saying that to them, and this is really good that they brought that up, because when I said that, I don't know if I really meant it. I really don't want this life to be that hard. But I've also thought from a soul perspective, if all of my future incarnations and past incarnations are going to benefit, because time isn't linear, is going to benefit from me doing this healing now and experiencing this, as Abraham would call it, contrast now, experiencing these lower frequencies and these denser experiences, then so be it, for the greater good of all that I am. That's the North Node. So let's talk a little bit about some of these more ethereal energies that we're pulling in this week. Venus and Scorpio making a trine to Neptune and Pisces. This is very beautiful. This is opening your heart and making you become more empathetic. And this is what's happening today, Sunday, December 6th. Venus trine Neptune is amazing for lounging around with your partner, writing songs with a loved one, even being by yourself. Venus is not just about being in a relationship. Venus is how you take pleasure in things. This is a day and a few days about taking pleasure in those things. For us more spiritual people, this is about finding pleasuring ways to connect to our guides, loved ones, higher self, whatever it is that may be. That could be meditation, but that could also be being with friends, singing. Venus trine Neptune is perfect for singing. Singing is I was singing a lot today. So Venus and Scorpio will be making a quincunx to Mars and Aries at the exact same time. This is some confusing energy. Mars is more physical, more dense. So these Neptune energies are these frequencies that are vibrating up here. Gravity naturally is going to take you down, root you more in the physical dimensions, root you in that Mars action-oriented sexual masculine energy. But this Neptune energy is available to you. That's with Neptune in the North Node. We've got the Sun and Mars, very masculine energies, very conscious energies, very action-oriented energies. And then we've got Neptune in the North Node, which are more ethereal, more spiritual, more out-of-body, more transcendent, more higher purpose-oriented. So we've got this dichotomy going on this week, and we've got a fair mix of angles happening: oppositions, trines, sextiles, quincunxes, squares. There's a lot of different conversations these planets are having this week, and the overall arcing theme. So we've got the orchestra, woodwinds, strings, percussion, all of it's happening at once, and it can sound confusing unless it's all synchronized and you're just listening to it as a whole. You can separate it into its parts if you listen closely enough, but it's this one overarching theme. And what this week tells me is that we need to get very clear about our relationships. Relationships with ourselves, for one. How much love are you showing yourself? And I don't mean to sound like a fortune cookie or one of these Instagrams. I'm being very real. How much love are you showing yourself? How many times are you catching yourself beating yourself up in your head and going, I'm good. I got this. I'm grateful for that. Breaking up the programming. And how many of these people that you have relationships with, loved ones, are you benefiting from at this time? A lot of you, light workers, starseeds, empaths, even if you don't label yourself as that, spiritually woke people, whatever it is, if you're watching this video, you're probably in the realm of what I'm talking about. Aren't you noticing at this time all these people you love and adored, they don't feel the same way they used to? The person you're in a deep committed relationship with, they're not moving in the same direction you're moving into. There are timelines splitting. There are different opportunities and different outcomes being offered to us. And some people out there who we love dearly, they are source just like we are. They are not going to take this conscious jump at the same time we are. There will be those left behind. Not in a bad way. It's their choice. It's their soul's choice. There are many people committing suicide at this time because these souls are opting out of being here during this great event. But you're here. I'm here. We're choosing this. And this week is also giving you some opportunities not only to reevaluate your relationships and your relationship with you and how you feel about life, and are you having fun with life? Are you taking enough pleasure out of life? Or is life just work and dread for you? Why? Aren't you asking yourself why? Put the bong down, put the bottle down, put the Roku remote down, and ask yourself some of these questions. You don't have to put it down permanently, just for a minute, y'all. I know this year has been hard, but we're also being asked, who are you? We've got the sun making a square to Neptune and trine to Mars, a sun making an opposition to the North Node. So the way I'm taking this is, are you going to choose your ego or are you going to choose your soul? And are you going to choose what your relationships should be and how you want your relationships to play out? Or are you going to let relationships come and go naturally and let the higher self and the soul do the work? Not holding on to things, people, experiences, and outcomes that are not in alignment with that. It's hard. Trust me, but that's what this week is all about. And are you willing to listen to that higher calling? What are those things you keep saying you want to do? Not that you need to do the hard work to do it. Saturn ain't here right now. Daddy ain't here. We're talking about your soul. There is a calling that you have. That calling might be to be a secretary in a school, okay? But there is some kind of higher calling. It does not mean that you become Ram Dass or the next Mother Teresa. You don't have to be famous or wealthy or be on Instagram to be living your purpose, okay? Your purpose here is to just be. But there is a calling forward, a calling upward. Are you following that? Can you feel that? Some of us are feeling really anxious and depressed right now. We think it's just this crazy year. But it might be because the soul is pulling us and we're holding ourselves back. So you're being pulled like taffy and it does not feel very good. There is a tug of war happening in a lot of us right now. And as we are leading towards this great 12/12 portal and the even greater December 21st solar event, we are being asked to finally shed who we think we are, who we thought we should be, and finally take these conscious jumps in evolution. And this does not mean you fly up into a Stargate, okay? This ain't Xenon. I'm talking you finally loving yourself for the first time in your life. And what does that even mean? That's you untying your shoes when you take them off so that your future self doesn't have to untie them in the morning. That's you cooking a meal for yourself because you finally realize, I don't need to cook something in the microwave. I like showing off for my friends and cooking for my friends. Why do I like cooking for my friends? Because I love them. Well, why don't you like cooking for you? Okay? Why don't you like massaging yourself at night? Why don't you like taking care of yourself? Why don't you like sticking to the routines that you keep saying you're going to stick to. Okay? There's a lot of this we're being asked to do. Self-care and self-love is at the pinnacle of our duty right now, and it's to ourselves, and reevaluating all these relationships that are no longer in harmony with who we are and where we are going. Now, for those of you who are wondering, well, what's so special about December 21st, 2020? I thought the world was supposed to end on December 21st, 2012. Well, there's a lot of different theories, a lot of different interpretations, a lot of different shit going around, but the way I received this is that December 21st, 2012 was not the end of the world. It was the end of the third dimension as we knew it. All of you watching can definitely attest to what happened in 2013 and beyond. How your life began to slowly, rapidly, or extremely change. I'm sure some of you were already spiritually awakened or spiritual. I was always a spiritual person. I was always connected. I saw mediums and psychics. I used to love astrology. Okay? I used to get signs. But it wasn't until 2013, 2014, 2015, things started to happen. Chakras started to make themselves known to me. They started to come online. The experience started to get greater. I had a Kundalini awakening. This shit got real. And what I want to say to everybody is that we feel like it's always going to be this way. And no, it was not. For those of you who are not aware of what the Yuga system is, you absolutely need to be looking up what the Kali Yuga is. In the Vedic texts, they talk about the Yuga cycles. We're completing cycles. On December 21st, 2020, this is what the Mayan calendar purported to be the official beginning of this next phase, or what we could call the fifth dimension, if you want to call it that, as that is just a state of consciousness we're entering, a more evolved, higher vibrating state of consciousness. And it just so happens on that day, Jupiter and Saturn will make an exact conjunction at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So dare I say it, does this December 21st, 2020 mark the official beginning of the age of Aquarius? I feel that to be true, and I feel that to be so. The ages are hard to nail down. There's different ways you can identify when an age starts, and it's not very clear, and there's not a lot of agreement going on out there in the astronomical and astrological communities. But before we knew what Uranus, Chiron, Neptune, Pluto, before we knew what those planets were, Saturn and Jupiter conjunctions, which happen about every 20 years, those were the most major, most important, most powerful that was the most powerful cosmic event that could have happened, and it was called the Grand or the Great Event. We just experienced this year Saturn and Pluto conjuncting, Jupiter and Pluto conjuncting, and now Saturn and Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Pluto, Jupiter, Jupiter, Saturn, conjuncting, all in the same year. This is major. And on December 21st, Jupiter and Saturn making a conjunction in the sign of Aquarius. What is Aquarius all about? Freedom, liberation, rebellion. But it's ruled by Uranus, so technology. We are about to blast off into the future. The age of Pisces is over. The priest and king consciousness is over. The two fish are gone. Now we are going to experience the true return of the Sun, S-U-N, and the return of the Christ consciousness, which is what's ushering in all of these light codes and upgrades and awakenings. This is our divine right. Our DNA is going to be activated, is being activated. Why do you think you're experiencing all of these symptoms and all of these major breakdowns mentally and emotionally? Why do you think things are so crazy on the planet right now, but so crazy inside of you as well. Yes, we've all got these astrological transits happening right now, major ones happening, which are triggering different parts of our natal charts. But as a collective, we all came here to be at this time. So this week, relax. Don't relax because there's nothing to do. That is something to do. Relaxing is an art form. How many times can you just lay around and not feel guilty about it? I'm guilty as charged. How many times can you lay with your partner and not have to say anything? Or be with your loved ones and know exactly how to give them what they want when they need it? Venus is trining Neptune today. Go out and donate. Go out and feed the homeless. Go out and work at a farm sanctuary and volunteer. Do something that brings that generosity out of you. Because but only do it if it's really real to you. Don't do it if it's a chore. If you're called to do these things, go out and do it. Wear your mask and go out there and give back. Because all of that is you and you are it. So once you start really feeling that and vibrating with that, it's not going to happen overnight, but you'll start to want to improve everything out there rather than thinking everything out there is my enemy and is trying to make my life hard and make me do something I don't want to do. No, it's all out there like fruit on a tree. It's mine for the taking, and it's mine for the experiencing, and it's mine because that's me and I'm it. That truly is what the fifth dimension is all about, is unity consciousness. And we are headed there, and we are going there. And Aquarius is all about the future. The future is now. So this is a very exciting week. It's all about the soul. It's all about your purpose. We are, by the end of the week on 12/12, we're going to start feeling that new moon in Sagittarius total solar eclipse energy coming in. So on the day of the 12/12 portal, meditate. Really write it down, what you are wanting in your life. You may also notice that there's things that you're wanting that you didn't used to want, and that there's things you want to put down, but it doesn't feel right to you anymore. I want to be famous, I want to have money, and you're just like, shit, I don't think any of that's going to make me happy. That's my experience. I have a lot of Leo in my chart, so you best believe I have thought about money, and thought about nice things, and thought about being well known. And at some point you just realize, I want to be in alignment, and I want to enjoy my life. That's what this unity consciousness is pulling us toward. And get ready for we've got a stream of events that are preparing us for this December 21st, 2020 solar event. There will be a great solar flash. There will be lots of solar storms, light plasma shooting at us, upgrading us, activating the planet. The Schumann resonance is going to be off the chain. Prepare for some intense mental, physical, spiritual, and psychological symptoms of the ascension process. But just know this is part of it. Just like when you work out and the next day you're sore as fuck and you're like, ooh, I really did the damn thing. Well, our souls are really doing the damn thing right now. You've got the 12/12 portal. You've got the new moon in Sagittarius, total solar eclipse on the 14th. Jupiter's going to enter Aquarius, Saturn's going to enter Aquarius, and then they're going to conjunct each other, and we're going to have the great event on the winter equinox. Hot damn! I am so excited for this. Thank you everyone for listening. If you have any questions for me, you can always go to my website at www.christophermedium, that's Christopher with a Y, medium.com. You also should be following me on Instagram at the.astromedium, the.astromedium. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I also take love donations, only if it's sent with love. www.venmo.com/Christopher with a Y dash Hancock, Hancock. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. I hope you use these energies coming in for your benefit. I will see you next week for the cosmic forecast. Be there or be square.